Hey guys, this is Nick Campanello with another episode of Off the Cuff. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about something pretty interesting, and that is the idea of the Grail Watch and the One Watch collection. So, for those of you who don't know, a Grail Watch is a watch that really speaks, dear to your heart. A watch that um, is the watch amongst watches. So, in my mind, for me, that would be if I were to keep like a white gold date with that green dial. That's like if I had that watch to keep for myself and not just something I would stock. That would be, hey, if I didn't have any other watches in my collection, as long as I had that one, I would be satisfied. And that brings to the idea of the one watch collection and things of that sort. Of course, the one watch collection is I have one watch, I don't need many other watches, and I know that's kind of a foreign idea to a lot of watch collectors because a lot of watch collectors have 2, 3, 4, 10 watches in their collection. But I do like the idea of the minimalistic approach of the one watch collection, and I'm going to talk today about some of the pros and some of the cons, and why I think that everyone should try it at least once in their life. Of course, the ultimate con is if you are not starting out with one watch. Let's say you have this idea in your mind to get a Grail, or you have this idea in your mind to get a one watch collection. You then have to sell, liquidate, or trade out of the watches in your possession, because obviously if you have 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 watches, that's not a one watch collection. And it's that idea of letting go. And, a lot of people, myself included, they really develop an attachment to their watches, to their collection. Maybe it is something that brought them a lot of joy, and maybe it marks a certain occasion in their life. So marking that, with watches can be very difficult, and to kind of get rid of that desire to have multiple watches in your collection is something that takes time. Another con would be, of course, if you're a super stylish person. For myself, I wear a lot of suits every day. I do work with suits when I'm not selling watches. That's why we have tailored timepieces here. And for me, if I had a one watch collection, that would mean that it would have to be something that goes with all my outfits, whether that be a all black outfit or a blue outfit or a red outfit. It would have to be a watch that is interchangeable, because it is, of course, one watch. That to me is someone who appreciates style and appreciates menswear would be difficult. If you were to tell me what's the one suit, I would say for me, it's a navy suit. But if I had 5, 10, 20 suits and you said, hey, you need to get rid of everything but that one navy suit, I would have a difficulty in doing that. So I think that's kind of where the idea of a one watch collection comes from. And why people who start the one watch collection, in my opinion, will eventually go back to multiple watches. And to me, I think the idea of a Grail is important, but it's a lot more about quality than it is about quantity. And I think that's not even just in watches. I think that's in life. I think in life, if we have this idea that it's not about the things we have, but the quality of those things. I'll share with you. I am a child of immigrants, and I'm a first generation Italian American. And when I go to Italy, they don't have 10 jeans, 10 pairs of jeans, or 10 shirts. They'll have 2 pairs of jeans, and they'll be the nicest and most expensive jeans that you can own. So I think that is very much a European point of view, whereas here in the States, everybody wants the most. So they want the most food. They want the most, suits. They want the most clothes. They want the most shoes. We have all you can eat food because it's about having as much as you can. And the idea of the Grail is, hey, I've really wanted this piece, and once I get this piece, I'm satisfied. And I think that's a concept that is very foreign to a lot of people. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be expensive. Maybe a Grail watch is a $2,000 vintage watch. Maybe a Grail watch is your grandfather's watch. Maybe you're a young guy in your early teens or even in your late 20s, and you're saying to yourself, hey, I really like grandpa's watch, I really like dad's watch, I really like mom's watch, whoever watch it is. And you're saying, once I get that watch in my collection, once they leave me that watch, I'm good. I don't need to collect any more pieces. And it's this emotional pull that a lot of people have towards that watch, whether it be, a personal circumstance or maybe a demarcation of a moment. As you know, here at Taylor Timepieces, we really do think that the best time to buy a watch is to demark those moments in life. So you have, things like anniversaries. Somebody might say, hey, I got this watch for my wedding. It's my Grail watch. I don't need anything else. And while I've seen it done before, it's something that's done very infrequently, because those people that get those Grail watches eventually, Watches and Wonders comes out, and new stuff comes out of the shops, and new stuff comes out of the collections every year, and something new comes to fruition. I know for me, I always said white gold date green dial, white gold date green dial, and they just came out with this really interesting black version that's kind of like a pearlish black, and it's a little bit more money, but I think it's such a nice piece, and it really comes in rose gold, and I said, you know what, as much as I love the white gold, I think the rose gold is something I would enjoy too. So now I got to think, okay, if I had a one watch collection with that white gold green dial, would I then have to change it to something else? And I find that, Grails are an interesting topic, because someone's Grail might be someone else's daily watch. And I think that, especially in this industry and this hobby that we have, we forget that these are, for a lot of people, very difficult to get, very interesting things that need to be really saved for. And that's why I love working and doing Taylor Timepieces things, because I say to myself, wow, this person saved for years for this special Rolex. This person always wanted this AP and they could never get it from their dealer, and they got it from us. So I think in that regard, it's awesome to be able to provide that for people. But I think a lot of people forget that when they're looking at Grails, they always say, okay, your Grail's got to be your most expensive piece. And let me tell you something, this Patek that I have on right now is a vintage Patek, and it's a Calatrava, and it cost me, under $10,000, and it's a beautiful dress piece. And I always said to myself, I want a Patek, and if I was to go ahead and get one from the secondary market, it would be 40 grand, 50 grand, 60 grand for the dressier pieces, 100 grand for the sports models, 200 grand for the sports models. So to get something like this under 10 grand, like, it could be someone's Grail. And I think that as a community, we need to learn to not shame that person and shame their Grail. I think that a Grail, like I said, doesn't always have to be the most expensive piece in your collection. It could be the most precious piece in your collection. It could be the most thoughtful piece in your collection. It could also be the piece in your collection that is maybe the goofiest piece in your collection. Maybe, every year I go to a different country. I go to France, I go to Japan, and we went to Japan last year. And it's not my Grail, but we went to Japan last year, and I went to go see the Seiko factory in Japan, and I saw this beautiful Seiko with this gorgeous pinkish salmon dial. And now every time I wear that watch, I think of the time that I went to Japan with my friends and my associates in the watch industry, and it brings me so much joy to wear it. And that's a $600 piece, that, you know, is maybe not the highest piece in my collection, but it's a piece that I will always enjoy for hopefully the rest of my life. And I am so grateful that I was given the opportunity to collect that piece, and I think that that's something that a lot of people need to focus on. It's not just about um, the cost of the item; it's about the quality of the item, and it's about the quality of the experience related to the item. So to me, that's really what a Grail is. And do I think that everyone needs to, at a certain point, collect a Grail? I think it's nice to have a one watch collection for a time being, especially if you're a younger gentleman who is now just getting into this industry or just getting into this hobby as a collector and not from a dealer point of view. Because there's a bunch of expensive watches. So, you know, if I was maybe 17, 18, 19, 20, if I was just getting my first watch, I would want to make sure that maybe it's the best watch that I have. And, you know, whether that Grail is a $40,000 Sky Dweller or a $3,000 limited edition, you know, Qatar Tudor. I think that there's a place for everyone in this industry, in this hobby, to collect that Grail, and I think that everybody should try it. And the interesting thing about having a Grail is it changes as we get older, as our collections change, as our environment changes. You know, somebody, when I'm wearing dressier outfits, and you know, I like to wear dressier suits and dressier watches with interesting watch bands. And when I'm learning, of course, now that I have a girlfriend, she's dressing me down a little bit, I'll say, and I'm dressing more casually. So I mean, in my mind, you know, my general sense of style changes, and with that general sense of style, you're also changing your Grail. And I think that's what having the Grail does is it really lets you focus on the important things that you find in your collection. Are you somebody who, you know, really wants a dive watch? Are you really somebody who wants a Panerai? Are you really somebody who really wants a special Rolex that nobody else can get? Are you really somebody who, you know, maybe you are classic and you say, hey, listen, if I just had the most expensive piece that I could afford, that would be my Grail. I just want this Patek Nautilus and nothing else matters. And that's totally fine. I think that there's a lot of judgment around, you know, Grails and what people enjoy. And I think the most fun you can have as a collector is just to find the piece and wear the piece and enjoy meeting these people that also collect and building these connections. And, you know, we're really grateful to build these connections with you and all these videos, and we really do appreciate you guys taking the time to watch them and get our opinions and get our thoughts. And of course, if you are looking for more thoughts, or you're looking for a place to buy and sell that isn't you know, full of those hefty eBay fees, we do have a new community that you know, is built around other collectors and other enthusiasts to buy and sell watches, and that's the OTC Watch Club. And in that community, we do, you know, have a lot of people securing the Grails and one of their first pieces that they really get to enjoy. And it's always a pleasure in my mind when you have somebody that, you know, has been wanting this watch for a very long time, and they get it. And, you know, if we as a company can be a part of, you know, you guys getting your Grail, then I mean, that's what this is all about. So again, I really appreciate your time. And if you guys haven't already, definitely hit us on Instagram at tailored_timepieces. And of course, hit that follow button as well. We are going to be coming out with these every week, and hopefully several a week. And we really do appreciate the time that you guys take to watch them and you know, think about them, and you know, sharing your love for timepieces, because that's why I got involved in the business, and that is why I hope that so many other people will buy and sell watches in the future. So again, this has been Nick Campanella with Tailored Timepieces, bringing you another episode of Off the Cuff. And if you could, in the comments, let us know what your Grail is and what your watches that you've been reaching. And hopefully you've gotten it. And if you haven't gotten it yet, we would love to be of service to you. Thanks so much. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.